Unpopular opinion, cell phone cameras are good enough that you probably don't even need to buy an actual camera. The Sony RX6 versus the Samsung Galaxy S9. What's up everyone, I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. I talk about this a lot, but no kidding, cell phones these days have a huge number of advantages over regular cameras, and honestly they've already crushed the low-end camera market. But with the brand new Sony RX100VI, Sony is fighting back against the onslaught of the tiny censored invasion. We did this comparison a few months ago with the Sony RX100VI, but let's see what the newest Sony brings to the table. So, can a cell phone replace a high-end point and shoot for your daily photo and video needs? Well, let's find out. We're gonna break this video down into a few parts. Longtime viewers will know this from my action camera videos as a different, but kind of, pillars of action. The everyday wife made me promise I wouldn't scream that out today. Let's start the test. First up, let's compare the autofocus. As a dad, I love taking photos and videos of my son and family, but that dude is fast and getting him in pictures is tough, so I rely on good autofocus to make sure he's in frame. Additionally, as an online content creator, I spend the majority of my time actually filming in front of the camera. So I need gear that doesn't need me to mess around with it and then, get my setting and then get around and back of it or mess around with it, or the Sony RX100VI has Sony's brand of phase detection autofocus that is really, honestly, it's one of the best in the market today. And the Samsung Galaxy is on a whole other level. It has the fastest autofocus I've ever seen. Yes, it does have a smaller sensor, so there's a deeper depth of field, but even discounting that, its autofocus is so fast, it's like it reads your mind. It might actually be reading my mind right now. Image quality. Both cameras have awesome image quality. A note I want to make here is something I didn't know at the time of the last video. If you edit your Galaxy S9 footage on a Mac, like me, it will have a really weird color profile added that makes everything super red. You can fix this, and I'll leave a link in the description to show you how, but just keep that in mind if you're considering these two cameras. And again, both cameras take really great video. I prefer the image coming out of the Sony, not just because of its depth, but it should do better because it costs almost twice as much as the S9, and it's a dedicated camera. Okay, and this is a low light test of the two cameras. Honestly, this is the next day because, my audio system decided not to record. So this is the video out of the Sony RX100VI, and this is the video coming out of the Samsung Galaxy S9. They're both set to auto to make this as fair as possible, and I've got just my normal light set up in here. This is what you would normally see coming out of the Sony a7 III or the GH5. So how does it look? How's that autofocus still going? Okay, back to the video. Both cameras do have recording limits on their high-end resolutions, but something I've found is that while they have similar limits, the Sony will overheat and shut down while I'm still able to use my Samsung Galaxy S9. So it's not as even as the spec sheet might make it sound, whereas they both have recording limits. However, you can record more, I find. The Samsung has a huge up on the RX100 in that it has an audio input. That means you can get legitimate audio from in camera, which is by far my preferred method to record audio. I cannot overstate how awesome that is. The RX100 requires you to either use the not optimal microphone to the camera itself or record everything on an external recorder like an H1N that I used in the previous video. And so this is a vlogging / audio test of the two cameras. So this is the audio out of the Sony RX100VI, audio test 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the audio out of the Samsung Galaxy S9, audio test 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one of the benefits of both cameras is they're just incredibly tiny, and you could just fit it and take it anywhere. Like, that's the beauty of having a small portable system. I'm not necessarily a vlogger, but if you're gonna just be out and about anywhere, the smaller the better. If you're trying to be unobtrusive, if you're just trying to get like some shots and it's just good stuff. I don't like carrying around a whole lot of gear because it just gets heavy. Ain't nobody got that kind of, like, every step you take, ounces turn into pounds, and so I like small stuff. And okay, so this is also a stabilization test of the two cameras, as we're just kind of like walking around in the woods here, because I love making videos in the woods, because it's just like so peaceful. There's not like 1,000 people around. Okay, I think we've been blabbing at each other long enough. Back to the video. Ease of use. Something that I beat the RX100V up on terribly bad was it has the traditional, hard to use Sony menu system. The Mark VI does have a huge benefit of having the new Sony menus that's found on the 3rd generation of their full frame cameras like my Sony a7 III. It's similar, but it has enough clarifications and it's a way easier to use menu system that I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt here. But the S9 still crushes it for ease of use. The gigantic touchscreen on the back with all of the options available to use in a super simple package is just darn hard to beat. Not only that, it's smaller, it's lighter, it's easier to handle, and we'll talk a little bit more here in a second about some more benefits, but it's Next up, accessories. This section is basically unchanged from the last video. The updated RX100 is almost the exact same dimensions as the previous model. Accessories can be a huge boon when taking pictures or filming, and one of my favorite types of accessories is a gimbal. You can get really awesome cell phone gimbals for about $100 to $120, depending on your brand of choice. I prefer my DJI Osmo Mobile 2. That's what I bring with me everywhere I go. It very easily handles the S9. Now you can get some of the bigger cell phone gimbals like the Smooth 4. You can also, with a few counterweights, get it to work with an RX style camera. So you can use roughly the same ones. But if you want an actual gimbal for the RX100, you should probably get a small camera gimbal like the Zhiyun Crane M, but it will run you about twice as much. Here's a big one. Price. The Galaxy S9 will set you back about $700, and the RX100 Mark VI will set you back about $1,200, which is outrageously expensive. It is a great camera, but at that price tag, it's a camera for a very specific demographic. So what's this all about? And again, not much has changed from my last video. My conclusions are still basically the same. The RX100 Mark VI is a fantastic camera with an incredible zoom range in such a small package. For pros or high-end prosumers, the larger sensor in the RX might be more suitable for your filming and or photos over the tiny sensor inside of the Galaxy S9. But for the majority of people out there, myself included, the Samsung Galaxy S9 is a camera powerhouse that really makes the point and shoot category obsolete. And with the added benefit of being a magical box that can do almost anything, live streaming, gaming, researching, editing, uploading, all sorts of stuff. It's really my recommendation for a do-it-all camera that you can take with you anywhere. That's the main thing. Cell phones are the cameras you always have on you, which makes them the most useful cameras. But which ones do you guys prefer? Which camera do you prefer and which one would you get? I'm curious to hear. Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.